At the beginning of this year, First United committed to reading through the Synoptic Gospels. We would do so together. First came the Gospel of Mark, then came Matthew. Today, after hearing 4 months of Matthew's teachings, parables, shared meals, healings, arguments, questions, betrayal, crucifixion, and resurrection, First United, we reach Matthew's final 5 verses. Woo! Next Sunday, Pastor Jessica returns, also from her sabbatical, and we begin the Gospel of Luke. So today we stand between the Gospels, the Gospel of Mark behind us, the Gospel of Matthew ending here today, and Luke still ahead. The book of Matthew leaves us atop a mountain with the disciples. Throughout Matthew, this community has been known as the 12. Matthew 10:11, his 12 disciples. Matthew 10:2, the 12 disciples. 11:1, his 12 disciples. 20:17, the 12 disciples. 26:14, one of the 12. 26:20, with the 12 disciples. 26:47, one of the 12. You get the idea. 12, 12, 12. Matthew has trained our ears to hear this number. Then Matthew's final scene begins differently. The 11. The 11 made their way to Galilee. The number lands hard. One person is missing. The community has changed. Some losses reach beyond words, and Matthew gives only the number, the 11. Loss changes us. Some losses change life in ways words cannot describe. This last verse in Matthew gives us that kind of loss. Jesus is arrested. Jesus is executed. Judas dies by suicide. 12 has become 11. Loss changes disciples. And as I look into this congregation, I know I am seeing people changed by loss as well. Some have lost children, spouses, parents, siblings, partners, friends. Some of you have watched a relationship change or even end. Others have lost health, work, a future once imagined. Some endings arrive more quietly, like the loss of daylight as summer ends. Here at First United, Pastor Jessica's sabbatical ends today. For 10 weeks, First United, you have lived inside a different rhythm. First United adjusted, you made changes. My season serving as your sabbatical minister ends today as well. These losses are not the same, of course. Losses cannot and should not be compared. Loss changes life. Loss changes relationships. Loss changes rhythm. Loss changes communities. Matthew does not explain the grief of the disciples. Matthew lets one changed number speak, the 11. Loss changes us. Move forward. Social science research on human connection suggests that supportive physical proximity can change how human beings experience stress. So, as if think, pair, share wasn't enough, I'm going to try something. And for those listening online, I've moved away from where I normally give a sermon behind the podium, and I've moved down into the congregation in close physical proximity. I moved forward. I actually am going to put it out there. We're going to try this, kind of like some movement in our sanctuary. If you are comfortable and are willing, move forward. Let's come together and just see. If you don't feel comfortable, stay put. But if you want to just feel a different feeling and are comfortable, move forward, move in, move closer in proximity to one another. And let's see. Laura, you want to come down if you want? Let's just see the difference. We've got this very large sanctuary, and it's easy to spread out, harder to move in. We have guests here, and I hope this doesn't freak you out, but I hope you return. Come up, come sit closer together. Does it feel different? Matthew speaks of one small movement on that mountain. The writer of Matthew says, Jesus came forward. Jesus moves toward the 11 disciples. Jesus moves towards grief. Jesus moves towards doubt. Jesus does not move backward. Jesus moves in. But do not confuse moving forward with moving on. Moving forward does not mean forgetting. Moving forward does not mean ignoring. Moving forward does not mean leaving your grief behind. Moving forward means moving toward another person, bravely toward the uncertainty, toward the pain, toward community. Jesus came forward, and Jesus makes the distance in between smaller. Move forward. Live differently. At the end of Matthew, Jesus gives his followers a string of verbs: go, make, baptize, teach, carry out, know. And after 10 weeks of sacred self-care, that sounds a little exhausting. I can't help but think about Pastor Jessica and how she's feeling, all that awaits her. First United, we have spent the last 10 weeks practicing Sabbath, stillness and rest, paying attention, healing, freedom from the lie that our worth depends upon our productivity. And now, Jesus gives us what sounds like a to-do list. In a beautiful film called The Way. It stars Martin Sheen, I don't know if anybody has seen this, but it's from 2010. I recommend it. I was a Johnny-come-lately to this film. I just saw it in the last year or so. But Martin Sheen plays Tom, a father and a lawyer who travels to France after his adult son, Daniel, who he's a little disappointed with because he doesn't seem very with it, not too concerned about, his son isn't too concerned about his productivity. That's how Martin sees it, or Tom sees it. And Daniel goes to begin the 500-mile pilgrimage across the Camino de Santiago. Tom goes to bring home Daniel's ashes. Initially, Tom approaches life as a series of tasks, duties, and responsibilities of a man, of a father. Tom decides to complete the job his son had hoped to finish, those 500 miles, from France across the Pyrenees to Spain. At first, Tom does see this as a task to complete, finish the route for his son. But somewhere along the road, the journey changes. Tom begins to notice people. Tom receives help. Tom gives help. Tom makes room for strangers, learns forgiveness, experiences mercy. The journey becomes more than something Tom finishes. The journey becomes a way Tom learns to live. And as we come to the end of Matthew, maybe Jesus is not handing us a checklist, is not handing his disciples a to-do list. Maybe Jesus is giving followers a way to live. Love God. Love the neighbor as yourself. Welcome. Forgive. Practice mercy. Seek justice. None of these can be checked off a list. None of these can be finished. These are ways of living. And then Jesus gives one final word. No. And know that I am with you always. Matthew's gospel ends with a promise. God remains near even to the end of time. Live differently. Matthew began this final scene with a changed number. 12 becomes 11. The community has changed, and still the story continues. The disciples have changed, and yet the book of Matthew starts with Emmanuel, God is with us, and ends with the reminder that God is with us always. Today, Matthew ends. Next Sunday, Luke begins. Today, Pastor Jessica's sabbatical ends, and my time with you as a sabbatical minister ends too. And our story continues. So move toward one another. Love God. Love the neighbor. Practice mercy. Seek justice. Live the way Jesus has shown us. And know that God is always with you until the end of days. Amen.